Hi, I am Dr. Tyson, and I'll be doing some different kinds of gaming with you today, and that is talking about what is philosophy. So, I am a doctor of philosophy, and that's primarily Western philosophy, meaning beginning with pre Socratic philosophers in about the 7th century BC in Athens. And then Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, the Western tradition as it continues through the Romans, through the Romans, and then the Middle Ages, the modern period, postmodern period, contemporary period. Okay, but overall, through all the changes that have occurred over the centuries, over the millennia, we're talking about one main question that philosophers are interested in, and it has to do with all human beings, all times, all places, every culture, every gender, every color, any mix up you want to make. What does it mean for a human being to live an excellent human life? And of course, how would I know? But that one question, what does it mean to live a worthwhile human life, is one that each of us must ask for ourselves and probably ask again and again and again as our lives change and as the world changes and as history informs how we live. So, some philosophers have pretty provocative answers, especially those who give their entire life to pursuing that question. Is this really worthwhile? Is this ultimately worth my time, my effort, my resources, my money, my life? My life. Big questions. And some say there's nothing worthwhile about human life. And certainly during our time period and other historical time periods, it's been easy to say, not so much, or I am not sure. And that ends up going off in different traditions. So there are many, many traditions, even in the West, about philosophy. If we distinguish the East from the West, philosophy from theology, we want to remember this. In philosophy, we use as data reality, okay, the real world, what can be known naturally through sensation, eyes, ears, nose, mouth, touch, and through reason. So I have this evidence, I know this fact, I have experienced these things. If I bring them together, what can I reasonably, logically, validly conclude, at least temporarily, right? Until I get more evidence in, or until these things are changing or get a little bit more solidified. So it's an ongoing challenge, and not just for, as we say, not just for the last 25, 3,000 years in the West, but for each of us individually. So philosophy uses as evidence reality, and as method natural reasoning, which includes logic. Theology in the West takes its evidence, just to make a distinction, takes its evidence from sacred texts, the Torah, the Bible, the Quran. And that is the evidence that must be thought about, reasoned about, brought into history and experience and reality as it is now to figure out, once again, how to live an excellent human life on the planet where we live. But again, the evidence for theology comes from a different place, sacred texts. That's in the West. The East is still where we find philosophy and theology pretty much intertwined. They're a single thing. Some people might use the word philosophy, some might be more comfortable using the word religion, and of course you might say it's atheism, but it is combining everything together about our natural experience in the world and the possibility of experience, wisdom, insight that has come from the entire universe or perhaps the creator of the universe, or some way of thinking about that, something bigger, something transcendent. And in that way, we go back to both Western philosophy and theology. So the biggest distinction for West is we like to separate things out. We like to analyze. The trouble is for the West putting it all back together again. So the East takes life as a whole, as it comes as a whole, but asks the same question. I'm a human being. I want to live well. I want to live a good life. I don't want to end up on my deathbed thinking about, man, I should have bought another pair of shoes. Or, I can't believe, this would be worse, I can't believe I never told the people I love that I love them, and now the time has passed. So we want to live an excellent life every day, but we want the whole thing. Philosophy is about that kind of journey, that kind of asking of questions. That is a very tiny introduction. Maybe it gets you a little interested. If so, you can listen to me some more. I'll try to keep these short for you. It might help you to dive into other readings and say, well, wait a minute, what's the big picture? What does it mean to live a worthwhile human life? Thanks very much.